Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast for, what is today here exactly? Monday, November 28th, 2016. Now, I've got some new technology here so that I can actually do this and look at you guys at the same time, which I think is pretty cool here. This is yesterday's score. This 150-50s on the edge. A lot of people told me, they broke even, they won on the 50-50s, but they lost double ups, everything else. But if you play like that, then that's a smart way to play. This was just on the edge of winning double ups. If you look at the actual paying entry, you needed 288.7. This was 286.2, so you're 2 points out basically, and that's why I say always do a cash game. The lineup's pretty good. I mean, Beverly, Augustin with the last minute value. Now, guys, there was a different lineup that I posted yesterday. There was last minute value on Orlando that broke 15 minutes before. So if you're not following me on Twitter, definitely follow on Twitter. I mean, subscribe here so you can get alerts on the videos, and that pays for the channel. But go on Twitter. The link's in the description on the video, go follow me there, and I tweet these things out to people, and I say, hey, I'll give you the news, and you got to change things or cancel your entries, and I will keep you updated, especially if I run a lineup for you guys. And I've got another one today, so actually for both sites. So, anyways, we got Beverly, we got Augustin, we got Harden. Harden was just fine. Alphabet is what sunk this. I mean, if you spent up other than Alphabet, and the perfect way to do it, believe it or not, guys, was the other Orlando player. I'm forgetting his name right now. I can pull it up. I mean, if you just pull up the winners, it wouldn't be too hard to do this. Go to first real fast. There he is, Fournier. Because he played for Orlando and he ended up picking up a scoring load. I mean, you can't really predict those things, and although you can, and disappointing. That news hit really fast. Kilpatrick, Rudy Gay. That was a winning lineup, sorry. I can go back to mine here. Turner was just fine though on his value at 4,200. Glenn Robinson, we all knew about that value, you had to take it. Davis did great on his 11 something price, it was still more than 5 times. Biombo didn't perform, well, I mean, you need 17.5 to hit value at minimum. He was almost there. I mean, just like the lineup, it was almost there for a double up, but it made it for cash. Let's move on to today's lineup. Alright, so for today's cash game lineup, it's probably the first day that I don't have Westbrook in this lineup in a long time. And there's a reason for that. One, we have a 7-game slate today, but it's still kind of an interesting slate. And 2, they finally adjusted the price. So I've got Wall and Rose, which is kind of taking advantage of, Sacramento is Sacramento. They have bad defense and they have enough pace where Wall might have a field day with them. I think you might see a good upside from him, but I think the floor is secure. I think he's got 45, 49, 50 points tonight, and it's done. But 45 will pay value. D. Rose, guys, you're playing. Westbrook is he's on fire. He's doing his thing. But, fantasy points are offensively minded. They don't really account for defense. And so, and that's what he just lets it go. So, thank you, Rose. He was going to have a field day, in my opinion. And the floor, again, is secure, which is what you're looking for in a cash game. That special video in between cash games and GPPs is coming soon. You'll notice this lineup, though, if you guys haven't, it's got $2,500 remaining on it. If it's not cut in the screen, I apologize for that. But yeah, it's got $2,500. There's going to be a way to move this around later. We got some last-minute value on Boston, and I'll explain it in a second. At the shot guards today, I'm paying right in the mid-tier for both options. I want Depot and I want Beal. Just both look solid today. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, if you're looking for guys that are going to consistently, Depot is going to give us 35 points tonight. Beal, I think, almost is mispriced and is going to give you 40 tonight, but 32 or 33 is secure. These guys are a solid 65 points in your lineup, which is just exactly what you need. It's a 5 times value. KD. Go ahead and take him tonight. As long as Draymond Green is sitting out, he's picking up a little bit of the extra load that Draymond would, in terms of also a little extra peripherals and stuff, and so that's going to really pay off well. Instead of dropping around his 40, this is one of those upper tier days where he puts 58 down or something like that. It'll be an anchor on cash gains when you pay up, especially if you're not running for Westbrook. Now, you do have the money for Westbrook, technically, and I'll show you that in a moment, but let's move on. Carroll, and guys, you can look it up. Against a small forward position, well, the Sixers are kind of bad against a lot of different positions, including the center position as well, but they're the worst against the center, but they're horrible against small forwards too. They're teams that you just love to pick on in terms of DFS. That's the way you have to do this. And if you don't do it that way, and if you don't grab last minute value, you will lose. You need to be checking at the last minute. Right before lineups lock is what I really consider, because, and when I say lineups lock, there's two locks. There's 340 on the East Coast or on the West Coast, or 6:40 on the East Coast, right before the 7 o'clock usual starts. Because 6:40 for you guys or 3:40 over on the West Coast is 5 minutes before you can cancel your entries on FanDuel. That's your limit. You got 5 minutes to get in there and cancel entries if some crazy value's gone up and you can't calculate just right. Or at least you want to play it light and not heavy. I mean, today still looks like a normal day with the last minute value that's open, but is it really last minute value if I'm doing a video on it and you're seeing it 2 to 3 hours before? So remember that. We're going to get to that. I mean, you can see it right at the bottom. Olenek is going to be the value. With Al Horford out, who's going to see the minutes? Perebko, Amir Johnson. Well, they might pick up a couple extra minutes peripherally. Olenek's going to be the main beneficiary today. He's going to have 20, 30-minute run. So at $3,500 price, he's going to be a chalk value play. The problem is when I ran all the values through on this lineup, even after paying up for Durant, I got Carroll against the Sixers. And let's move the power forward real fast. We got Porzingis and Kaminsky today. Porzingis is in a nice, fat, just... do I even need to explain these spots? Kaminsky, as long as he's going to be playing with Marvin Williams out, and gets 35 minutes or something. I mean, it's where they haven't adjusted the price enough up. So both Kaminsky and Olenek, they're just going to be sitting there as like the pretty little options today for anchoring the rest of the lineups. So this is why I have 2,500 left, because there's a couple ways you can differentiate today. And I almost think you absolutely have to. And I'm going to show you the very first one right now that I have running. And I mean, this is going to be a GPP entry for me too today. And it's simple, and I think it's going to be kind of chalky, honestly. But I don't think it's going to matter. I think that people will still stray off of something like this, and it'll still be a decently paying, I mean, I'm sharing it on the public, so I mean, it would be split no matter what if it landed first, but it's not going to do that, So, but other than that, this can land relatively high, and I'm going to play it. It's only 100 left now. Same lineup. Wall, Rose, Depot, Beal, Durant, Carroll, Zingas, Kaminsky. But at the bottom, take JV. The worst against the centers, and he fits today. Your problem is you're fading a punt. And a really good value punt too. But that's why this is a GPP entry and not a cash entry. Now you go back to cash games, and I have this set in cash, and I haven't decided to take that in cash because I don't think that's the most efficient way to spend. To be quite honest with you guys, I mean, as much as I hate to do it, Russell Westbrook is probably the way to go. I mean, I don't like paying $12,200. To be quite honest, I think it's too far, which is why that's not going to be my recommended cash lineup really in the end. But how do you spend the $12,200? I mean, it's just, you're now over 20% of your salary on FanDuel, and it's over 25% of your salary over on DraftKings, but on there you have 8 positions to fill, so it's still choke point. But here you have 9 positions to fill. So, but to get over 20% of the salary, wow! If he puts up 57 points, his fantasy average, you're screwed. Curry looks much better. There are ways to spend up otherwise, which is why I was gonna say that if you're gonna do this, you know what I mean? Let me show you the multitude of options that you have. Your first option, and all of them will leave a little bit on the table, but don't worry about that today, is to take Lowry against that same Phillies team. If Lowry starts to have a nice upside game, beautiful GPP play. All right? So that would be your first way to do that. Discard those changes. Next, you have 2 shot guards at 63. This is pretty simple. Where can you upgrade to? Well, you got DeRozan. So what you're going to have to do if you want to upgrade in this position, you'll end up taking DeRozan Or, you'll end up in the same position that you were if you want to take Westbrook before. You're going to be short 500. I will show you guys ways to save 500 in a moment. But you can take DeRozan if you want to bounce up there. And don't worry about the $500. I have a $500 plan for all of you guys in a second, in a couple different ways. And I'm trying to give GPP options now, which I think is a really good focus for this video, and it shows that people are really watching or not. Because when I first opened with the video, the lineup is just $2,500 short, and on a cash game basis, you really need to spend every dollar if you can on a raw points per dollar basis, and build your lineup up no matter what. Now on a GPP, you can leave money on the table. Winnings lineups do that all the time. Even a couple thousand guys, I'm not kidding. You don't normally see winners like that. Normally they leave a few hundred on the table, especially on big slates, but on small slates a lot. You'll see a few $1,000s left for the winning lineup. Let's see here. We're not going to get to spend downs yet. Okay, a small forward, you can't spend up Durant, but you can spend up on DeMaris Carroll, and you can go straight to Porter. Now you're going to leave quite a big chunk of money there, but I said a few hundred no matter what. And Porter, you guys all remember his 60-point Shazam performance. Look at his opponent, Sacramento. He could definitely go off for 45, 50 today again, 55, and you look like a hero. You bring home the bacon. That's another option. Let's move on to the power forward. How do you spend the $2,500 that's left here on this solid lineup? Well, Draymond Green doesn't give you enough spend up because Porzingis is already. But you could move up Frank the Tank Kaminsky, and what are you at here? Oh, well, you can go to Millsap, and like I said, I have a plan for. Well, I don't know if I have a plan for 600. I have a plan for 500. We'll see. Okay, you could try that, and if there's 600 left, and it's your center, you got Olenek, and this is by far the easiest way to spend up today. If you just don't want to think about it, you'll end up in two different slots. You can take JV, which I told you is in a great spot for a tournament. Why not spend every penny and get some differentiation and go with Gortat? Right? Seriously, that is not a bad idea, okay? So for a tournament, run that type of a change, and that can possibly happen. I'm just going to save that for later just so I have it recorded. And we'll back up and we'll go into another cash game line for today. 2,500 left. Okay, let's go through the positions real fast, all right? Westbrook, like I said, he needs to drop a 60 spot tonight, guys. If he doesn't drop a 60 spot for you guys, then you have a problem, right? He needs to drop 60. He's got the Knicks as an opponent. Now, a lot of their games are ending with the 110 scores. I'm noticing that. So, I'm certainly Westbrook will get scoring tonight, and I would say it'll probably be in the 60s. But I don't know if he's going to run to the 70s tonight. I don't know if he needs to. Do you know what? That's a game that goes to 135 or 140. Well, the NBA is getting crazy with all the rule changes, guys. And I didn't used to see these games when I was younger, but now almost every team scores 100 points. So when the Dallas Mavericks put up only 65 or whatever it was the other night, it's just shocking. Curry, I love Curry tonight. Curry's in a great spot to pick up with Draymond Green out. He's got extra peripherals to go with, and he's in a beautiful spot to pick up easily 5 times value, if not 6. Because you'd think 55, right? Well, 55, look at that. 9 times 6. Forget there's a couple hundreds there, but yeah, 9 times 6, he's paid 6 times value if he hits 55 points tonight. You guys think Curry can't do that? The guy was a god last year. Take out one of their pieces, and now you've got the Curry and Durant show, right? What else can it be? You got Klay Thompson in there. He's the other, but it's the Curry and Durant show. I don't know what else to say. All right, so your other choices at the point guard position today. You got to like Lowry. Lowry's a nice position against the Sixers, like I was saying. You can spend up. Now, you're going to need to spend down in one of these areas, which is why I'm going to tell you about the prices below for your other choices. You'll give up opportunity, like I think Rose is in a good spot, but you have to do something somewhere. And that, if you're going to lose the $600, then do it. And Conley is just so, I can't play Memphis players anymore. They're just going to choke you to death. So, $300 is Collison, but 300 isn't enough. But Schroeder against Golden State with Atlanta is a sneaky play at 5,300, and it drops you $800 from Rose. So yeah, on all those other choices, if you take Schroeder, boom, they all fit. Just swap out Rose. Right? Boom. And it's done. And they fit. Selectively, if you just need to add Westbrook because you're just a couple hundred short somehow, you know what I mean? You're going for the Westie, you can look at Darren Collison today. The Wizards are more fast-paced, and I think that might be a solid upside play to 30 points today, if not 35. On the cheap end, we haven't seen extra value open up. Remember to follow on Twitter, and follow Basketball Monster if you don't do that. Look for the last minute value that opens up a starter that's 3,500, and if they're really going to get 30 or 35 minutes, see if it was consistent when they've been starters in the past. We know that with Al Horford, which is the interesting thing about Olenek today, which is it's a solid center play. Olenek and JV are great plays. I don't know what to tell you guys there. That's why there's 2,500 left in the base lineup, and why the title of this video is going to be different than what it's ever usually been. Oh, on the cheap end, I don't see much else, guys, so let's move on to shot guard. All right? What do we have here? Thompson, Levine. If you need to spend down to 500, I wasn't looking at Waiters. I was looking at Levine because it was $500 exactly. That was the perfect fit that I was thinking. Because Depot, as much as I like Depot can always drop you an egg. And while Levine can, especially against Utah, it fits so perfect. It fits so perfect. And this would be the lineup I would normally try to run you guys, and say this is your cash lineup to spend every penny properly. And probably at the end, that's exactly what I'll end up saying, if I wanted to drop, and I would show you guys, it would be Levine here, Westbrook instead of Wall, because Wall can also drop a 40-point on you, but I think he's in a good spot today. But he could, and I would just take the solid Westbrook floor, and that's probably what I'll end up ending the cash lineup in. But this is going to differentiate everyone that watches this video and everyone that just goes right through to the end and says, okay, that's the cash lineup. Yeah, I'll run that cash lineup, but I'm definitely going to run GPPs all across the board the other direction. And let's see here. I think it would be smart to take Smart. I think he's going to pick up some extra scoring load, no question. If you want to drop Smart right there, oh my God, brilliant. You know what I mean? That's perfect GPP play. You'll leave a little bit of money on the table no matter where you end up spending up your other money. I would love doing that today. I'm even going to leave that set up there. I would keep Beal with more upside than Depot. Beal has that upside to 45, 50 points, and he's in a good opponent position with Sacramento. Faster, bad defense. So I would keep Beal on a GPP. Let's see here. We're going to move on to the Durant stuff. I'm blocking the lineup, guys. I apologize for that. I'll try to keep my head out of it a bit. You can see Durant in the prices at least. Let's see. Well, you're going to be spending down. You don't want to spend down on Durant, obviously. If you're going to spend down, you see Gay. Gay's in a nice position. Porter's in the interesting position. Wiggins is so scoring dependent against Utah, I would be avoiding him like the freaking plague today. Crowder isn't. That's intriguing. With anytime you lose a center of scoring like Horford, you have to wonder where the extra scoring is going to go. And if Crowder picked it up, you're looking at a strange spot for 50 points out of 5,600. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's ever shown that kind of upside before, but if he has, this would be an intriguing GPP play. 35 points is the best I've seen in the season twice, early on before he got injured, and he's shown flashes of upside. So maybe if he's given some 35 points today, maybe 40. GPP play. Okay, Millsap, definitely okay against the Golden State today. And let's see, Dieng, even though it's Utah, someone has to get some scoring for them. They're going to get to 70 or 80 points. So I'll be looking at Dieng today. He disappeared on me. There we go. Yeah. And let's see, what else do we have here? Marvin Williams is out, which is why we have Frank Kaminsky down there. You see that little red ooh going by. And I don't see much else cheap unless some last minute value opens up. Boston value isn't here on these two ends. Unless you're looking at Amir Johnson possibly picking up a little bit at the bottom. I mean, it could happen, especially since he's got the highest fantasy point average, but God, guys, he's just really been sucking lately. I don't know what to say. If you want to take him, it's contrarian even though but it's contrarian. There'll be people that will be over a Boston stack today because they're going to be like, that's the way to do it. There's this value. This value opened up early, guys, so people know about it. Come on, I mean, Augustin was a 15% start last night, and the news broke 10 to 15 minutes before. No one had him before that. He was 0 point something, I guarantee you. 15% of players jumped him in their lineups that fast. Lickety split. Boom. Anyways. Okay, so we've gone through this position. I mean, Harebko too at the bottom. I would like Harebko even more. We've already focused in on the centers here at the bottom. And if you're going to go cheap, you already know where you're going. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with it. This is known value like Lynn Robinson last night, which we paid out. Take Olenek for at least a 6 times value tonight, if not 7 or 8 times. He's a beautiful spot. If you're going to spend up, now you need to spend up for a really nice person. You need Kofos to go off and Cousins to get in major foul trouble and get 30 points. If you're going to spend up just a touch and be different, that would be sneaky with the Olenek there at 35. That would be sneaky, just spending $200 more. A lot of people are going to have it in their budgets, and why not just run a fast flyer on that? JV though, JV is the perfect spend up. We all know it. Perfect position against the Sixers. Probably a lot for 30 fantasy points, if not 35 plus. And then you got Gortat sitting smiling right above him in that beautiful, beautiful spot against Sacramento. I mean, I don't know what else to say, guys. There's 2 beautiful options right in the center above. And you don't need to spend up. You don't need to go to Gobert. I mean, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go to Gasol. And if you start spending even higher, Horford's out. I wouldn't go with Howard. He's starting to drop to where I'll play him, but still not there. Game time decision, which means really do you want to, especially with Whiteside. He's been like Davis before. Towns. Yeah, but it's the Utah opponent. And Cousins, but Cousins is 10 grand. So if you find enough value to spend up, I would be looking at Cousins probably, because it's probably your next best way to spend up. You can look at Westbrook. Westbrook is solid, but if you're going to look for upside, I mean, Westbrook needs to show you 75 points tonight, and Cousins only needs to show you 60. I think you guys know which one is more likely. Okay, so let's back out and let's do your final cash game lineup for today. And we're going to make this final change here, because we know this is solid and it's on a point per dollar basis. So I'm going to save all the changes. And in case Olenek doesn't pay well with his minutes, even though he has them, which could possibly happen, the peripherals can be picked up by someone else. For a cash game, and this will be your 2-minute roundup starting now, I'm recommending you take Wall and Rose at the point guard positions, Depot and Beal at the shot guard positions, Durant and Carroll at the small forward position, Porzingis and Kaminsky at the power forward position, and JV for your center today. Now on DraftKings, and I have taken account for everything I've talked about in this, although I'm not playing real money on this, it's still the free, because I'm working on it, but I want to show you guys what the entry is. We have Derrick Rose in your point guard position, Bradley Beal in your shot guard position, Carroll in your small forward position, Durant in your power forward position, Olenek in your center position. You really do need value on DraftKings. Wall in your guard position, who I think is just too cheap here. Kaminsky in your forward position, because he's got the minutes. And Smart, because I think that's going to be a smart way to finish out your lineup with, because I do think he's going to pick up extra peripherals today. That would be a way I would look at doing on FanDuel as well, guys. I really would. Moving back to FanDuel real fast. Wall and Rose at your point guard, Oladipo and Beal at your shot guard, Durant and Carroll at your small forward positions, Porzingis and Kaminsky at your power forward, and JV for your center. Thank you guys so much for watching Fantasy Forecast for today. I hope you guys really liked watching this new format. It's new to me. I'm trying my best with it. But if you enjoy it, definitely leave a thumbs up on the video and let me know if you like that. Leave a thumbs up if you like the lineup. thumb it down, or if you don't like it, or leave some comments below on what you want. I try to comment on these videos once a day, especially if there's time before lock. I will tap time today, so you'll see comments. And follow on Twitter. You'll get the last minute news and the last minute lineups no matter what. Thank you again so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click that button. It's what keeps this place going. I'll keep doing fantasy forecast videos as long as you guys keep subscribing and watch an ad occasionally. Thanks again so much for watching for Fantasy Forecast, Monday, November 28th, 2016. Going out there and go win some big money.